Being very entitled and controlling, narcissists have no difficulty stepping all over your personal boundaries. So that's why I put together an extensive video class called This Is Me. It has 25 videos, written documents, guided questions. I'm going to teach you how to have healthy boundaries. There's a link below, and I hope you'll find it to be quite therapeutic. It's only natural when you have relationships, whether it's inside your marriage or your immediate family or extended family, work relations, social organizations, it's only natural that you would say, I want this to go well. I want this to be something that's mutually beneficial and that we can walk away feeling good about having been in one another's presence, particularly when there's a long-standing, ongoing nature to that relationship. Now, when the other person on the other side of that equation happens to be someone with very strong narcissistic tendencies, the odds for that relationship succeeding are very low. The odds for that relationship failing are really strong because you see, as part of narcissism, they bring a me-first selfishness and entitlement to the relationship. They don't really have a real strong ebb and flow in terms of me knowing you and you knowing me and each one of us having a certain amount of deference to one another. Instead, they're so controlling and they have such a strong need to have things go exactly the way they say it's supposed to, that relationship with success is going to be fleeting. Like I say, it can happen for a short period, but in the long haul, you're going to be burned. Now, if you've been on the backside of that relationship that's already failed, you know that you're going to get the blame for it. They're going to say that you're the problem. But I want to see if I can zero in on 6 of the primary reasons that narcissistic relationships are destined to fail, and they simply can't maintain relationships over the long haul. And the more you're able to understand what's going on, it can certainly allow you to know how to manage them going down the path in the future, but it can also help you understand how you're going to manage your own personal responses and emotions to them. Now, starting with number 1, the first reason that narcissistic relationships will fail is these are individuals who have persistent honesty problems. Is that a nice way to put it? Sometimes they just tell straight up lies. They know that they're being dishonest, they don't care, but they have something in mind that they want, and if telling a lie is going to get it for them, that's what they're willing to do. Sometimes they tell half-truths. Well, I told you that this was going to happen, and sure enough, they did, but then they don't tell you about the rest of the set of circumstances, and so they fudge, and it's like, well, I don't really need to tell you until it's on a need-to-know basis, and I'm the one that decides, and again, keeping in mind their need for control. Sometimes they have dishonesty by omission. They lie by omission. In other words, you didn't ask, so I didn't tell you, but there are all sorts of things that they may have that are sneaky or secrets that they keep. And it's like, I just don't feel the need to talk with people about who I really am. But plain and simple, when it comes to having honesty, a narcissist is thinking, what do I need to say? What do I need to do to get what I want? And if it means that they have to twist things, if it means that they have to, go outside the limits of honesty, they're willing to do that. Personal and selfish gratification takes priority over integrity, and integrity is grounded in a person's honesty. Now, a second reason that relations with narcissists will fail is they have just a questionable grasp of reality. You've heard me talk before perhaps about how narcissists have an alternate reality. Everyone else has a certain grasp and understanding about how things should go, and narcissists is like, well, if it goes my way, okay, we'll go along with that. But if not, then I don't think that's accurate. They operate with an unsustainable ideal. There's a term that I use to describe that. It's what I call mythical thinking. If only I could get people to see this, or if only I could get people to do this for me. And their beginning point is to have people have such a grand and deferential attitude toward them. They want to have their way, and they want to have this fairy tale kind of life that they can't stand it when they have to deal with things that are just uncomfortable or awkward or inconvenient. It's all about getting their ego stroked, and that's the beginning point of their reality. I want to look good, and you're my vehicle that's going to get me there. And as a result, there's a lack of mutuality. There's a low appreciation for the interconnection. It's all about me getting what me wants. Okay. A third reason that relations with narcissists will fail is, I'm just going to say, a lack of vulnerability means no trust. Narcissists don't want to be vulnerable with you. And when we have a deepening form of relationship, it's going to include vulnerability. You know, not everything about you, not everything about me is wonderful, is ideal. We've made mistakes or miscalculations. And as we engage with each other, we can actually enhance and tighten our connections with each other as we reveal our humanity with each other. And that's a concept that is completely lost on narcissists. Instead, they operate with a type of paranoia. It's like, if I share who I really am, and if I talk with you about some of my hurts and frustrations or failures, this isn't going to end well for me. And so they don't trust people. They are constantly wondering if you're going to go along with them and if you're going to prop up their obvious superiority or not. And they're very careful not to reveal any kind of neediness or vulnerability other than blaming other individuals. They may say something, well, I really wanted this, or I needed this, and I was hurt because of that. And the reason it didn't happen is because somebody else's fault. So they may reveal a certain vulnerability at the hand of someone else because it allows them to play the victim card, and they can milk that for all it's worth. A fourth reason that they're destined to fail in relationships is that to narcissists, people exist to be used. Now, that's a really sad way of thinking about things. In the narcissist mind, you're not valued as a fellow sojourner. You know, we're all trying to figure life out and trying to have a sense of purpose and meaning. Instead, they have this notion that says, well, my journey means that I have to get you onto my path, and I need to get you to do what you should do according to me. And they have a strong agenda. And along with that, they have all sorts of double standards. You need to cater to me, but I'm not going to cater to you. Or you have to gratify my needs, but I don't have to gratify your needs. You exist to be used. And there are times when I've talked with so many individuals who are on the backside of that relationship and it's collapsed. It's like, in retrospect, the only thing that I was good for was getting them what they wanted. And they were extremely demanding and they couldn't be pleased and satisfied. I was just being used. Now, right on the heels of that, number 5, we can say that relations with narcissists collapse, and this is a big one, is because they're unable to manage conflict at all. And by that, I mean, anytime you have a long-standing, ongoing relationship, differences are going to show up. And sometimes it's going to be accompanied by disappointment or futility or annoyance and aggravation. Healthy individuals will say, let's sit down and talk about this. Instead, though, narcissists, not being healthy, will take any kind of conflict or difference and they'll turn it into a brawl, or they'll turn it into a hard standoff. They have major anger issues. Sometimes it comes out in rages. Sometimes they can be blaming, or they can go into a lot of character assassination. Sometimes they go into a deep, hard freeze with passive aggressiveness, and they can hold on to contempt. But when they manage their anger in that kind of way, it whittles away at any sense of goodwill. And then as it becomes a repetitive kind of cycle, then the relationship at that point is just running on bare threads. It's not going to work out well at all because you can't get through relationships without knowing how to manage conflict successfully. Actually, it can be a part of your growth if you do it right. And then a 6th reason that relations with narcissists will fail, and this is kind of a culmination of all of the other 5, and that is narcissists have an astonishing lack of personal insight. They have lots of opinions. They have lots of rigid ideas about what's correct and incorrect, and they may have a lot of knowledge on certain topics and subjects. But when it comes to the relationship, they don't go into nuance. They certainly don't really know how to break down their own mistakes or errors or yours in a way that's constructive. And as a result, they have a lack of wisdom. They think, well, as long as I know what's right, that's enough, as opposed to saying, well, let's see how I can take my knowledge and then apply it wisely. Their insight, their ability to think things through in an intuitive and in a wise way is almost completely non-existent. Now, like I said just a moment ago, when a relationship with that narcissistic person fails, inevitably, it's your fault. Their shaky ego will simply not allow them to say, boy, did I blow that. They can't talk about their own personal deficiencies. So with that in mind, let me throw in a few words of caution here. And that is, knowing what I'm talking about, and with these patterns and these tendencies that they have, don't take it upon yourself to be responsible for their ineptitude. Guaranteed, they're going to vilify you and make it seem as though you are the inept person, but know what you're dealing with, and know that with the right kind of person, you could probably go a lot further in your relationships, but it requires their maturity. Or another word of caution is be careful about letting the narcissist establish your pace emotionally or relationally. In other words, just because they happen to be in a bad mood, you don't have to jump in and be in a bad mood either. If they're argumentative, you don't have to jump in there and be argumentative. You can have your own separate sense of boundaries and definition. And then as you do see these warning signs that I'm mentioning to you, make sure that you understand what your clean alternatives are. You don't want to just say, well, I don't like that. What you want to do is you want to say, but I have a better alternative. I have better plans, and I'm going to lean into that. So don't fixate and don't isolate with that narcissist. Make sure that you think through your own initiatives, and hopefully you can apply your own better initiatives with people who know how to do relationships right. A narcissist who trends towards failed relationships does not have to define you. Make sure that you have your own definition, and they get to be what they are. Be separate and distinct. And I hope that videos such as this can give you a good idea of what you're up against and how you can manage yourself. And as you watch these videos cumulatively, I hope it gives you kind of some good momentum to build upon. If you haven't already hit that subscribe button, I would encourage you to do so. We'll keep more coming in your direction. Likewise, I know that many of you could decide, I could use some help. And you know that I'm sponsored by the online therapy service with BetterHelp.com. They have a whole team of licensed professional therapists. It's accessible, it's affordable, and it's something that I've had very good feedback from. They've sponsored me for years. If you go beneath the video here, there's a link there that will take you to their site. Get a 10% discount for the first month. Please seek therapy if that's really your need. In addition, I have my therapeutic courses. It's like signing up for an online class. It's very extensive. Each course has many videos, like 25 or so, and with each video, there's a written documents. I put a lot of work into this, but a lot of guided questions with it. And each course addresses different subjects. We have Ready, Set, Connect about having good connection skills. This is me about establishing good boundaries, free to be, finding yourself despite those controllers. We also have my webinars that I presented, but you can still go back and purchase those, and they're at a very affordable and approachable price point on that. Likewise, we have my podcast, our website with many articles. All that's free there. And then, in addition, we have my books, etc. Lots of resources. Narcissists, they'll want to say, well, if a relationship failed, it's everybody else's fault. But they carry so many dysfunctional ingredients on the inside that it's destined to happen. And so know that as you engage with them. And then when you see that collapse, know that you can move on without them having to just be that proverbial monkey on your back that you just can't get rid of. I want you to be freed so that you can be the best version of yourself. And in doing so, I'm hoping you can become a person of steadiness, and specifically you can go further and further down that path toward a place of peace.